All right, so we have a banger of a video today, guys. I'm going to be walking y'all through the exact KPI dashboard that I use in my seven-figure physical therapy cash practice Motion Rex. For those of you guys who are new here, welcome. My name is Peter. I'm a physical therapist turned entrepreneur. Over the last few years, I grew my PT practice over 4.3 million cash collected. Last year, we did 1.3, and we're currently scaling to hit over 2 million this year. Along with my buddy Andy, we have a mastermind coaching group specifically for other cash physical therapy clinics to help them grow to over 100K per month with predictable lead gen and systems. So if you're interested, you can just go ahead, hit the link below, book in a call. All right, let's go ahead, let's get into the good stuff. All right, what's up, guys? So this is going to be the KPI dashboard. So I really like this view because I can basically pull it up, look at it, and it'll give me an exact snapshot, an idea of like where exactly is our clinic going, how is it doing this month, and what KPIs or what metrics do we need to adjust moving forward in order to get the needle moving forward in the right direction, right? So I'll kind of go by line exactly like what are some of these KPIs that we track and why you want to track that, okay? And then, so the first thing you really want to track is obviously gross rev. Hopefully, all you guys should be tracking this one at the very least, right? But this is just pretty much going to be everything that is cash collected, right? That hits your bank account at the beginning of the month to the end of the month. From there, we have the total FTEs. FTE basically stands for full-time employee. So you kind of want to think like, hey, all right, if you have one FTE, and you can kind of adjust and change this based on how you want to have it at your clinic, right? So for us at my clinic, one FTE basically stands for, hey, they have 40 available treatment hours. Now, so if you have like at your clinic, you said, let's say you want to have, one full-time employee basically treat like 30 available treatment hours. You want them to do like 10 hours of marketing, so be it, right? So you basically just want to put in whatever hours they have that's available for full-time treatment. And you're going to go ahead and plug that in. So if you have one full FTE, that's going to be 40. If you have 0.5, that's 20. So what is that? How many total FTEs does that include, including yourself? Okay, so if you're treating, maybe like 10 visits a week, that would basically be 0.25 FTEs. All right. That's going to be FTE, full-time employees that you have. From there, that's going to dictate, right, like what's the total available slots that you have. So for the month, so the monthly available slots is basically going to be your average total daily treatment visits that you have open, right, time the total available business days. Now, every single month is going to vary and range depending on whatever month that we're currently in, right? And so let's say like in December, our total available days is probably going to be a lot less than let's say something like January, because in December, right, we have like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, etc. So pretty much you just want to take, hey, how many available days are you open for the clinic? Okay. And so what you want to do, right, is you basically take your one FTE, let's say, one FTE is full 40 hours, right? Multiply that and you divide that up, and that'll kind of give you how many total available treatment hours they have on the day. Okay. So it's pretty much, all you do is you take your total available slots, multiple in the day, and then multiply how many days you have on the month, and that'll give you your total available slots per FTE, right? And so basically what you want to do is like, hey, whatever you are on the month, you just want to basically minus everything, including holidays, travel, and PTO for all of your employees, and that'll give you your total FTEs on the month, right? And then from there, we have total visits. Total visits is basically going to be, hey, how many arrived visits are there? So this is basically just going to calculate arrived visits, not booked visits, right? So it's just all arrived visits that arrive. And then from there, that'll give you your utilization percentage, right? So it's just going to be your total visits divided by your total available slots. From there, your arrived visits will also give you your hourly rev, right? So we have totally gross rev, and then we also have total visits. Now, I know some of you guys might be like, well, if I have some month that I sell like more packages, more programs, and the next month I'm filling, that's totally fine. It's basically going to average out completely at the end of every single like quarter, and then definitely at the end of every single year, right? But pretty much you just want to make sure at the very least you should be doing around 275, especially if you have a team. Now, I know some of you guys might be like, well, that's so much. Like, I don't know if I can even charge that. Yes, you can. You just need to know how to go about effectively selling it. I'll tell you another reason too is like, as you continue to grow and scale and you bring on more employees, you start to put money in ads, you start to have all this other overhead. If you aren't charging at least like 250, 275, you won't have enough profit left over for yourself. So it's really kind of maintain at least 20 to 25% profit margins. You have to be charging high enough, right? Especially if you want to be able to grow on staff in the future. Now, if you only want to stay solo provider, that's totally fine. Just charge like whatever you want, right? Whatever you want to be able to do as a solo provider. You're not going to have much overhead. But if your goal is to be able to scale this shit up as much as possible, you got to make sure you're charging high enough, right? So at the very least, you should be hovering around 275 per visit. All right, moving on to the next thing, we got obviously total number of leads. So total number of leads is going to be all the people that enter into your CRM. So people who reach out to your websites, people who call you, people who, if you're doing any kind of injury screens or workshops or events or anything like that, anybody who is a lead that expresses some sort of interest in your services, you're going to plug them into the CRM. Now, the CRM that we utilize, it's super easy to basically calculate, but you just want to and once you insert all their information, you can filter it in by the month, right? And then you can see, hey, all of your new leads that opt in that are interested in your services for that 1 month. All right, so that's going to be a total number of leads every single month. The next thing we have is your evaluation. So out of all these leads, right, how many of these leads do they turn into evaluations? So for us, all we do is like, all right, how many arrived evals do we have on at the end of a single month? And then from there, your evals divided by your number of leads, right? That's basically going to give you your total lead to eval conversion percentage. Now, this data may be skewed a little bit month to month, right? Because let's say, hey, today is the 27th of the month, right? Let's say we have somebody who books, but they booked their evaluation for like the 5th of the next month. So they're going to show up as a lead in 1 month, but then their eval is going to be in the next month. Again, it's totally fine if you have 1 month that bleeds a little bit over into the next one. Everything is going to average out on the end of the quarter and definitely at the end of the year. Everything pretty much you just want to look at is the overall trend as well as the overall percentage, right? Because again, if you have one person that books or that closes onto an eval, but they don't come for the eval next month, it's not going to skew your percentages heavily. Now, speaking of percentages, let's talk a little bit about what that should be, right? So what is your eval to, or what is your lead to eval conversion percentage? What should that be? So typically word of mouth. So word of mouth meaning like from gym referrals, past clients, medicals. These should definitely be very highly qualified. So your close rate should be close to around 90%. Right. And then now if we're getting into like any kind of ad stuff like Google's going to be probably closer to around 50% of overall lead to eval. And then Meta, we basically play the volume game. This is going to be closer to around 20%, right? So meaning if we have 20 leads that are coming in from Meta, around 20 of those should close onto booked evaluations. Now for us, we always take a 50% deposit for the evaluation, regardless if they're coming in from word of mouth, Google ads or Meta ads, whatever it is, right? And so notice you will have a little bit of a higher friction, but that's really where if you have a dialed in sales process, you won't have any problems with people giving their card information for a deposit over the phone. So this is at the very minimum, kind of like where your lower end conversion should be. Now, if it's definitely below this, that basically means, hey, you have an SDR problem or you have a front end conversion problem with your front desk SDR team, or if you're solo and you're doing all the calls and stuff, means we need to optimize whether it's the discovery call or it's going to be how fast we're actually reaching out to these prospects to actually get them in on for the initial evaluation. All right, so that's going to be a lead to eval. Next thing we're going to take a look at is like, all right, out of those evals, how many of those close onto plan of cares, right? And so what does that close rate percentage look like? So this should only be POCs from your evals, right? It should not count as any kind of re-ups or anything like that. We basically want to track front-end sales for all your new evals coming in for that month. So what should the conversion percentage be, right? So it's like, hey, if you're getting slapped around with like, let me think about it, let me talk to my spouse, let me check my finances, let me check my insurance. You basically need to make sure you're optimizing your sales process with objection prevention and then definitely objection handling at the very end as well too, right? So with this, make sure you guys know, hey, this is on the lower end of the conversions, but with word of mouth, you should be closing around 85%. Google ads, you should be closing onto POCs at 60% and the Meta close to 40%. So if you guys are below this, it means you have an inefficient sales process and you need to dial that shit in, whether it's more lead nurture or better prevention of sales stuff with a better discovery on the initial evaluation. Whatever that is, you got to dial that in. So with this, right, again, like you may have some people that come in for initial evaluations on like Tuesday, it's at the end of the month, and then they close on the following month. It's totally fine. You just want to make sure you track that and get that set up appropriately for the end of the month. All right, so that is your POCs. And again, with your POCs, you definitely should be making sure you're priced appropriately. Typically, we recommend your POCs should be set to at least like 2,500, 3K. I would say 3K at the very least, 2,500 if you're like brand new, just starting out. All right, but really what we're seeing is like around like 3,500 to like even 4,500 is going to be really that sweet spot where people are doing like a one one call close, right? If you can call that, or one visit close, where they're coming in for the initial evaluation, and then the price is definitely like low enough where they can make a decision that same day to close, not having to, go back, think about it, etc. If you're priced way below 2,500 to 3K, it basically means, hey, you're way underpriced. You definitely need to increase your prices. If you don't know how to increase your prices or understand how to convey the value of it so you can sell it effectively, then same thing, you just need to understand how to optimize your offer, optimize your sales process, which is all things that we can help you out with. All right. So that's a little bit on POCs. Net POCs. So this is going to be like, hey, what is the total aggregate of like active people that we have that are on active programs or packages that they're currently actively coming in for. So you're just going to take net total of all of your clients. So this number should be something that you can track either in your EMR, whether it's Jane, PT Everywhere, whatever it is. And then if not, we also have an Excel sheet. You guys can just DM me for that. That'll basically help track all of your active clients. So these are going to be people that are on some sort of program packages, have visits remaining. Okay. So basically the main thing, you just want to make sure this number continues to go up month over month. All right. So that's going to be your net POCs. The next thing we're going to take a look at is going to be membership EFTs. Membership EFTs, meaning what is the total number of clients that are on recurring memberships month over month. So if you guys haven't seen the overall like funnel in terms of like how we actually, the overall customer journey life cycle, you can just click on this video right here. I'll kind of break you guys down like what the overall like customer journey life cycle is for our cash practice. But typically what we recommend is like after people come in for their initial front end offer, we close them onto some sort of back end membership offer. Now the conversion onto the back end membership offer should be around 40 to 50%. But this back end membership offer is basically ongoing training, right? I hate to call it maintenance because it's really not maintenance. We're always pushing for performance for these people. But this way you set it up as a recurring revenue stream that should be billed every 4 weeks instead of being billed monthly, right? So this is just, you want to track, hey, all of your net recurring, and all we want to do is like, we want to make sure these numbers are continuing to going up month over month. That way we know the clinic is continuing to grow. And then from there, you have your total client number, right? So client number is just basically going to be all your people on membership added up along with the peeps on your net POCs, all right? So yeah, when you guys download this and you guys fill it out, make sure, you just fill in the green stuff, make sure you just fill in the white stuff. The green stuff will autofill in. All right. So that is your kind of like front end part. And then from there, you definitely want to track retention. Well, what the hell is retention? Retention is meaning how well are you retaining people on the back end? Now, super important, because let's say you get let's say you get 10 POCs in every single month, but you're also discharging 10. Not good at all, right? Because that basically means, hey, we're evening out at a net zero. We're not growing the clinic month over month. So you want to make sure you continue to retain people on the back end. So this is really where you're like discharge POC, what's the conversion percentage of DC onto membership, right? So you really just want to make sure we get that dialed in. With this should be close to around 40 to 50%. Oh, I just realized I did not get that note added in. Let me get that added in. 40 to 50% as owner. And then if you are a clinic, meaning you have multiple therapists, right? Multiple different personalities you need to manage, 35 to 40% as a whole clinic should be like what you should be aiming for. All right. So that is that. And then out of that, you also have like, hey, people who are on membership, how many of those people discharge every single month, and then that's going to give you your total discharge, right? So it's total discharge is going to be your POC membership discharge plus your membership discharge. Meaning like, hey, if you have like 10 people discharge, 5 close onto membership, so that means we have 5 altogether discharge from membership, and let's say you have 1 discharge from membership, it's going to be 6. Lastly, I love tracking Google reviews. So Google reviews is just something that like you want to make sure you have a consistent goal of like increasing month over month, year over year. It's just one of those little things that can compound and stack tremendously. I'll give you an example, right? So it's like for us, we've been consistently tracking Google reviews for pretty much since we've been open. We've got, over 500 5-star Google reviews now, right? And so like in the next couple of years, like we're going to be hitting close to like 1,000 Google reviews. And then by then, like nobody around us will be able to like touch us with the amount of social proof that we have. And so it's just one of those little things, like everybody that comes in, I don't know what just happened there. Everybody that comes in, you should have having a pretty high client success rate. And then obviously with those clients who do well, they would love to leave you a Google review. You just need to understand how to ask them. And I would say like out of Yeah, shit. I don't know. Like maybe like 70 to 80% of people that work with us, all 70 to 80% of people end up like leaving some sort of like 5-star Google review. All right. So you just have to understand how to go about effectively asking people. All right. So here is the overall KPI dashboard. Yeah, you guys feel free to download it, make a copy. This should give you guys some very good insight in terms of like where are the bottlenecks within your business every single month. It's so easy just to be able to pull this up, understand what numbers you're looking at, and then from there be able to optimize that moving forward, right? So if your lead to eval is below, or hey, if your leads are very, very low, then we need to know, all right, cool, we need to pile on more leads, right? If your POC conversion is lower, all right, cool, we know we need to dial in sales process. So just looking at numbers gives you a very good idea of like, hey, what's the bottleneck that we're currently facing? What do we need to do moving forward to optimize this moving forward? Okay, so hopefully y'all found that helpful. If you want more guidance from a coach who's currently in the trenches that can show you exactly what to do and what to avoid, instead of some of the other coaches out there teaching some outdated methods, hit the link below, book in a call, and we'll talk soon.